Taylor on a beat.
Exalted Entertainment Radio. This is Kiera D, and of course I got my boo thing in the studio with me. It's Kiera D and Anthony. Yes, another edition, another edition of the Love Factor, where it's all about relationships. And today we are talking about husband material. You know, last week we talked about wifey material, how to recognize if a woman is wifey material. So, of course, you know we got to come with the follow-up, with the sequel of how to recognize if he's husband material. Brothers, are you ready? Do you know if you ready for marriage or not? Because ain't no sense. There's no sense in jumping into a marriage if you know you are not ready for the challenge. Because, as I always say, marriage is for the strong.
Yeah.
Definitely not for the
Only
weak.
the strong survive. That's
right.
Exactly right. We're here to bless you today. You know, we're happy that you, we're happy that you're on this broadcast, that you tuned in. We had fun. We already laughing. So, you know, I'm definitely believing that this is going to be a wonderful session on that.
Absolutely.
We're here to bless you today. Help you. So listen up.
All right. So first things first, fellas, how do you know if you are ready for marriage? How did you know that you was ready for marriage?
You know what? I'll tell you, you really don't in a lot of ways. But I feel like if you get out of the way and you really mature and man up and just really get up on your maturity status, you can start seeing things a lot quicker than being forced into it. You know what I'm saying? I never thought I was ready for marriage, but going through the premarital counseling that we had, it showed me that, you're more ready than you think you are.
Well, I mean, I honestly think that a lot of times that people don't really this guy's in the studio flirting with me, just so y'all know. So, but I just don't think that people are ready to commit because of their fear of failure.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point.
And oftentimes it seems like it's more so the men over the women. Why do you think that's so?
Maybe, if they've never seen it before, a lot of households, it's common and it's so easy nowadays, with a lot of households grow up with single parent households, and a lot of men refer to, my mom or my grandmother did everything for me. So a lot of times they haven't even seen, what a man is supposed to do as far as marriage is concerned. And I think that's why it becomes so common here, in today's time for young men to, really be shy of it.
So ladies, this is it. I'm going to equip you to know how to recognize if that brother is the one, if he's husband material. And of course, my husband, he's going to help you fellas to recognize if you really ready for this, if you are up for the challenge, if you are man enough to stand up and put a ring on it. Okay, so we're going to help you all today. First things first, ladies, one thing I must say, like I said, I have several points that I want to bring to your attention today. But in order to recognize if he's husband material, first and foremost, you need to know if that brother's responsible. If he can't take care of his business, if he's not taking care of his kids, what makes you think he's going to take care of you? If he don't know how to get out and go get his grind on or go get his hustle, then 9 times out of 10, it's not going to change just because you all got married. One thing that spoke volumes to me once I met my husband is the fact that he was a go-getter. I mean, he went through a number of things that could have knocked him down, but he didn't stay down. He got up immediately and was right back at it in the workforce no matter what was going on. So I just love that he was a go-getter and he didn't allow anything to knock him down.
On a responsibility tip, I think that's a really good point that you brought up. The responsibility tip, you can also, goes into, you need to be watching young ladies that, you're courting and, in the courting process being courted, or, you're dating a young man that you all are considering this, how responsible is he? Does he go to work on time? Does he get up on time? Does he leave, for work on time? All of that,
Absolutely.
Because if he's doing it right, whatever he's doing right now in small increments and small steps, they will be big steps once you get married. Responsibility comes down to, does he pay his bills? Does he have bills to pay? Those are all things that are good markers and indicators. How does he take care of and pay his bills? Are they always late? Things like that.
Right,
That'll help
right.
you see whether this guy will be an asset to you or a liability.
And ladies, get it out of your head that you're going to change him. You cannot change a man. If he's been that way for several years, don't think you're just going to come in his life and change him. He has to want to change on his own. Nobody could change anybody except for themselves and God. And so you got to get it out your head that he is not a project that you're about to work on. Okay? Get that through your head now. The second point I wanted to bring up is maturity. Is he mature enough to be the man that you need him to be? Is he going to be the one competing with you, or is he going to be working with you? Because competition in the household is not good, not unless you're playing a game or watching a movie, or watching the sports. But other than that, you don't want your mate competing with you, trying to do everything that you're doing just to try to one up you. For example, I know a couple who were really both into the music industry, and one of them was excelling further in his music career. And so his wife, as a result, she started getting jealous. And so, when you allow that type of stuff to happen, it's nothing but breeding ground for strife. And so make sure you are dealing with someone who is mature, who's going to carry you, who's going to support you in your endeavors, and who's going to have your back after it's all said and done.
I think that's very true. Maturity is so important because, in a relationship, emotions get involved. And, once you get married, you really get to begin to see that person for who they are because all the guards are down. So maturity needs to see, and, how does he handle himself when you guys disagree? His maturity level should almost trump yours. A lot of times if there's a man and a woman and both of them are, say 18, well, statistics have shown that young lady is almost about 22 in her mind, and the young man is probably about 16 still in his mind.
Right.
So his maturity level needs to be up past yours. I would say, that because he's going to be the one leading the household, rightfully so.
And on top of that, you really show me what it means to be mature, because I honestly didn't know what maturity looked like until I saw it coming from you as a man. One thing that stood out to me is the fact that when we had disagreements or anytime we were not seeing eye to eye, you would make it a point to say, I apologize or please forgive me. And that started early on in our relationship, even before we got married. And so I love that. That was a true mark of maturity, admitting when you were wrong or asking for forgiveness. I think that's a very true mark of maturity.
And maturity doesn't keep making the same mistakes, or at least there's some progress being made on those mistakes. It's not just the same mistake over and over and over. Over a course of period of time, you should be able to see in that young man, who's husband material, you should be able to see, over time that, the mistakes he started out making, he doesn't make anymore. Why? Because he's maturing. The things that he used to slip up on, he's not doing that anymore. As far as maturity, and I'm talking about just behavioral, certain things. Maybe he was, leaving this and that out, and or not putting this up, or he was being very wasteful and stuff like that. These are things that you learn how to. Over time, you want to see that improving. Yes. Maturity takes into consideration how the other person feels.
And I love that as well. I recall one thing that you helped me to mature in was my attitude. When we first got together, if I got mad, this is dating stage, y'all. If I got mad, anybody and everybody is going to feel my wrath. And it helped me when you asked me, why do I respond like that? You just straight up asked me one day, why do I respond like that? And it made me think about it. And from that point on, it helped me to know, okay, I don't have to just give everybody the silent treatment just because I'm mad or because somebody done ticked me off. No, I can talk through my problems. If I have any issues, talk about them, talk them out, and, mature on, move on from there. Don't stay stuck in that same place. But it's okay to move on. And I love that. And I honestly will admit I'm still growing in that area. But over the course of our relationship, I would say that we both have matured. Would you agree?
Definitely. Maturity, I think, is got to be paramount because you guys are talking about when marriage. You're talking about for better for worse.
Right.
It's not always going to be going to the amusement park and going out to the to this and going out to the mall. Maturity comes in. When maturity steps up in the picture, how does the person deal with the rainy days or the boring days
right.
or the those particular seasons in life.
Right, and like you said, for better or for worse, and so. That maturity is going to deal with the for worse part. The maturity is going to let you know, okay, even though you ain't getting what you want out of a relationship, I'm still going to give 100%. The maturity is going to step up to the plate even when you don't feel like stepping up to the plate. So that's what maturity is all about. Another key factor you want to recognize is respect. Is he respectful? How does he treat his parents? Because if he dogs his mother, you think he's really going to treat you any different? That's the first woman in his life ever is his mother. And if he cannot respect his mother, regardless of her flaws, then 9 times out of 10, it's going to happen to you.
And I'd also say, when it comes to respect, just to take it another direction, is who does he respect? What does he respect? Who does he talk about a lot? What celebrities and things and people like that does he mention all the time? And who does he idolize? Who does he look up to? Who does he respect in his personal life enough that would correct him? Does he have somebody in his life that he respects enough that would correct him without hesitation?
Accountability.
Right. That goes with accountability. These are all things, that need to, that all work hand in hand. The responsibility, the maturity, the respect. And ladies, I hope that this, dwindles your list down as far as prospective candidates, because why you do want that one. There is that one for everybody. I just want to make that side note. He does need to have these type of character traits. They shouldn't be hard to find. They should be right there on the surface, and you should be able to sense that they're genuine and not being faked.
Oh, yes. And when it comes to respect, you got to pay attention to some of the details, the smaller details. Sometimes, does he respect himself? If he's always talking about himself, and if he's always cussing or drinking or doing things that's just way out the way, and I'm not gonna say drinking. Let's say getting drunk. Better yet, if he's always doing things to bring himself down or whatever, if he got to escape, and it's not in a healthy way, if he got to escape from problems, then you got to ask yourself, is that really respect?
And I'd also say, just to add on to that, the other side of the respect, does he respect you and what you say? Does he give you an opportunity to speak? Does he respect your boundaries? If you're not in the mood to go out to the movies or go here or go there or whatever, does he respect when you say that you're tired, you're not in the mood for this, that, and the other? And to what level does he respect you when you the first time, or do you have to keep saying it?
Oh, yes.
Those are things that are very important, because once you get married, those type of things can be warning flags for abuse and all types of just mistreatment if a person doesn't respect your time, your money, your boundaries, your no, when you say no and things like that. So, yeah, we really crossing some candidates off the list with this, but that's a good thing.
So, okay. One of the things that I loved about you when we first got together is the fact that I was able to recognize that you were full of integrity. And I'm going to be kind of candid here. When I say full of integrity, that means you expose your faults. You expose those hidden agendas that some people might have, or that you might have sometimes. When you're full of integrity, you call out the dirt that's in your heart, and because you want to do right. And so when you're full of integrity, basically, like they say, is doing the right thing when no one is watching. You're doing the right thing when no one is watching. And so you're paying attention. You ladies, you should be paying attention to how he handles his stuff. Is he always on his phone texting and interacting with social media while y'all out on dates? Or is he always busy with his phone when y'all together, period? And he really could barely have a decent conversation with you? You might want to question that, because sometimes when that happens, that means they have a hidden agenda, and especially if they don't ever let you see his phone, that's a red flag right there.
And then also when it comes to integrity as well, integrity, in my opinion, is a lifestyle lived based off of moral beliefs and faith. And a lot of times that goes back to that person's faith. What do they trust, and what is their belief system based on? Do they have a faith, and what is this faith, and what are the dynamics of that person's faith, and how astutely, how consistent are they in following? Are they a true disciple of their faith? And that should be coming out in their actions. You should see the spirit of their faith should be honorable, and that's what, a lot of ways, what dictates and directs a man's integrity. And integrity has to do with can he be trusted? And period. There shouldn't be no ifs, ands, or buts as far as that's concerned. And integrity, I will say this. As I finish my point here, even the best man is still a man at best. But, with integrity is concerned, if he's living a life full of integrity, there's no gray areas. There's nothing shady in his character, in his life, that causes you to think twice. If there's anything that makes you think twice, that's a red flag, and that needs to be dealt with.
Just talk about a little bit of how do you maintain your integrity when you're dealing with people of the opposite sex, or when you're on the job. How do you maintain your integrity? I think it goes back to a lifestyle. It just goes, number one, back to a lifestyle, and it's a choice every day. How you live a life of integrity is how you live a life of integrity in each choice and each decision, simply step by step, and that builds up, a resume of a lifestyle that you're living with integrity. And there's no room for gray area. There's no room for question. There's no room for lying, cheating, stealing, cutting corners, being slick, talking to one young lady and having another one on your back pocket and things like that. It's a choice to do that, and so it's a choice. That's how I do it. It's nothing mysterious about it. It's just a choice to live clean, because then you don't have to explain anything in the end. Right. And I know, like with us, as we mentioned before on another show, is when we first got together, we went through our phones and deleted everyone of the opposite sex. That right there alone spoke volumes to me, because I'm like, I've never had a relationship like this where we sat there in front of each other and did something like that. Not only that, you have been open with me about so many things. I mean, if you see a pretty girl, you're going to say, oh, she's pretty, but it's not in a disrespectful way. It's not in a way to make me feel jealous or insecure. I'm very secure in our relationship. And not only that, I mean, it's the way that you address things. You have plenty of opportunities.
Our marriage vows weren't, the traditional marriage vows. In them, the elder of our church, he said that you forsaken all others. Here's a news flash. Here's a spoiler alert. Okay, for young women, other men do not stop becoming attractive just because you're in a serious relationship or you end up married. And for the same thing, young men, other women do not just stop becoming attractive,
right,
because you're in a relationship. Integrity has to deal with your choices on how you handle, and it's different for everybody. But there's no other access. There's no access or dealing with the opposite sex for any reason. That's when integrity is involved. You will not allow your heart, your body to be shared, your emotions, your spirit. You will not allow any of that, your time, any of those things to be shared with anybody else other than the person that you're with. No question. And it has to be with no exceptions. That's how you keep your relationship clean.
So with that being said, ladies, you want to make sure that he's not being let's say hidden. He's not a hidden individual. He's open about things. We have access codes to each other, phones, passcodes, all that, Facebook. I mean, and it's open. We just leave our phones out around each other at any given time. We know that we can look at each other's phone or whatever, and we're going to be just fine because we have nothing to hide. We have that type of relationship where we trust each other. If somebody's trying to holler at him, 9 times out of 10, he's going to come home and tell me, and vice versa. 9 times out of 10, if somebody's trying to do something, they're trying to holler at me, I'm going to come home and tell them. And that's that. I mean, we don't play games with that. It's no straddling the fence. So we got to make sure we stay on top of it, because we want to make sure we have a solid relationship at the end of the day. So ladies, again, you want to make sure that that fella that you're dealing with is full of integrity. Number 5, he compliments you. You want to, if he's husband material, he's going to compliment you in the areas that you are insufficient. Where you're weak at, he's strong. And where you're strong at, he's weak. So you're going to complement each other. You should be able to fit together like a puzzle. I know for when me and my husband first got together, and of course you all know I have to keep using us as a reference because it's coming from experience, but he complimented me, and the way that I recognize is, for instance, he had a very professional attitude, and I was just little Miss Ghetto, okay? But he helped me in that area to scale back and not be so ghetto. Pretty soon, people started recognizing on my job. Some of my coworkers at the radio station started noticing, hey, I'm maturing. Hey, I'm growing up, and I mean, I was there for quite some time. Like they saw me mature from college and on into marriage. They started noticing a difference. So he compliments you.
And we're talking about complimenting at this point. Yeah, complimenting is definitely should be, where you lack, he can make up for that, period, with no problem. Mm-hmm. Where he lacks, you make up with that for no problem. In our relationship, I'd say that my wife is more social than I am. I do have social tendencies and things like that, but I'm more of the reserved one. I'm more of the one, to figure out, very exclusive in my dealings with people and how I handle my social interactions. But my wife can be social 24/7, 365, for no reason. And so, the relationship is no fun if both of you are the same type of personality.
Right.
Right. So you want to think about that. I'm not saying you should be the social butterfly and he should be the Scrooge or vice versa, but there should be some balance because opposites do attract. It's
yes.
very true. It's very true, and that's something that when it comes to complimenting, you want to be mindful of. It doesn't make sense if both of you are spenders or both of you are savers. Then there's no balance in anything. Either y'all gonna spend up all your money or y'all gonna save up your money and you're never gonna do anything about it. It's just something to poke a little fun about, but it's also very serious.
Oh yeah. So who's
laughing
the spender?
laughing but very serious.
Wait, who's the spender? Who's the saver though?
I mean, that's a loaded question. Yeah, that's a loaded question. But we can be very political with it if you like me to be.
I mean, let's just keep it 100. You like the floss. But it's cool. It's good because you buy me the finer things. It's all good.
The jury's still out, and we'd like to move on to the next part of this discussion for the night. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the next.
Nah, you're right. But anyway.
Yeah, like I said, he likes the floss. So number 1, son, it's all good. Okay, the next point is compatibility. Goes right in line with complimenting each other. You have to be compatible. You can't be on 2 different playing fields because if you are, it's not going to be a very fun relationship. You have to be like-minded. So what do I mean by that? Make sure you two are into the same type of, have the same spiritual beliefs. You definitely want to make sure you are on the same page as that. Your standards should be somewhat the same. What you would tolerate and what you will not tolerate. Me and Anthony, when we got together, I realized real quick that our music taste was very similar. We was very selective in our music. And we love to dance. And so we were compatible in that aspect. We both were serious about our relationship with God. And so those are just a few examples of how we were compatible with each other.
Compatibility is just like putting a battery into its compartment. The plus side, the minus side. You got to be compatible. You can't be wired to only accept AAA, type of. You can't be a AAA wiring, and he's a double D. That's just not gonna work. Compatibility is how you guys gonna function in the long term. You can't put a AA battery in the AAA socket. And I'm just saying, the man, the man, the woman is normally in the relationship the ones that kind of holds things together as far as the home life, the things like that. And the man is normally the power source. So if you're a AAA and he's a AAA, and I mean, but she said the same thing. You guys are, you're going somewhere. You guys can see where you're going a year from now. You can you have an idea of being able to articulate that. Right. 3 years, 5 years. You have goals. This isn't just a man working at a warehouse and he's just sitting around waiting for to find somebody. That's not what it's about. Does he have a credit history? Does he have dreams? Does he have goals? And how is he making his way towards those goals right now? That's something to think about. You don't just want to marry a handsome bum, ladies. Because there's a lot of them out there, and you end up on child support in a minute. Right. And just for the men, you don't want to marry a cute do nothing, a cute nobody. Just something to think about.
And as far as compatibility, you also want to make sure, like, if one of you are not a fan of drinking and your spouse or your significant other is into drinking, that can cause some serious division in the household. Because what if that person that you're seeing, if he's into drinking and she's not, that could turn into, years later, it could turn into him being an alcoholic. Or if he's into smoking and she's not, and you're living in a house, that can really cause some division. So again, you want to make sure that you're compatible, you're like-minded, your standards are about the same. Because if you can't live with it now, that does not mean it's going to change after marriage. That does not mean it's going to change just because you put a ring on the finger. So you want to definitely make sure it's something that you can get along with for the rest of your life, and you're not just settling because you don't think it's anybody out there. No, don't let that be your excuse. Anthony kind of touched on my last pointer when he was talking about making sure he's going somewhere and leading you somewhere. The last point I want to bring to you all is ambitious. You want to make sure that brother is ambitious. Make sure he's going somewhere that he can lead the household, because it's no fun following somebody that don't know how to lead. It's no fun following somebody without a vision. So, fellas, you need to be able to write the vision, make it plain, and know how to lead and guide your household. You got to be the pilot of that plane. You have to know how to hold it down, because you're going to have to be the mastermind for the household. She's supposed to come under you and submit, but how is she going to submit to somebody who has no direction?
And on the point of vision and having vision, that means that you're already thinking about the future. Ladies and gentlemen, if a person has no vision, but it's statistically proven that you can walk up to anybody randomly on the street, and 98% of most people will not be able to tell you what their definite goals are in life. It's been proven. I've read a book on that by Napoleon Hill. Talking about Think and Grow Rich. 98% of most people cannot tell you where they're going in life. They don't have a definite goal. And or if they do, if they're able to make that up, they don't have a definite plan on how they're able to get there. Ladies and gentlemen, you both, if he's husband material, he has a plan on how he's getting there.
Yes.
If he did go to school, for example, if he did go to school for a while and he didn't finish for whatever reason, for whatever problem that was, you need to know, dear, what's your plan on getting back to school and finishing school? There need to be active steps being taken towards that. Everybody needs a grace period to get it together. But, in 3 to 6 months, if you haven't seen any type of effort being made in re-enrolling to school, then he's just selling you a bunch of hot air. And men are good with excuses.
Oh, yes.
And being able to share things and just be talking about them. People can talk about what they want to do all day, but you want to see that. Having a vision and being ambitious speaks of a person already thinking about their future and planning for it. And that's how that's a good indicator if he's husband material, because if not, you'll be untook. And I know my grammar is wrong, is incorrect on that, but that said else on purpose to make my point. But you took the last name of somebody else, and that person ain't going nowhere, and now you ain't going nowhere too.
Right. Y'all be stuck like Chuck. So, but yes, you definitely want to make sure he has the ability to lead, because fellas, if you can't lead, then eventually she's going to walk all over you. A woman will have a hard time respecting a man with no vision, or with a man that does not know how to lead. She's going to end up being the one to wear the pants in a relationship. She's going to be the one to end up having it to lead because you don't know what you're doing and your head just stuck up in the clouds. Nah, we need somebody with direction. We need somebody to make us feel secure. And so as a woman, it makes us feel secure when we know where we're going, when we know that you have a game plan for us, for our relationship, for our household, for our children. So fellas, get on your A game and make sure you lead the ladies, okay? So I'm just going to reiterate all these points real quick before we close out on the show. Okay, ladies, these are the top 7 features that you need to look for or 7 characteristics that you need to look for in a potential husband. 1, he's responsible. 2, mature. 3, respectful. 4, full of integrity. 5, he compliments you. 6, compatibility. And 7, he's ambitious. Okay, so again, we would like to thank you all for tuning in on this wonderful Saturday. Yes, on this wonderful Saturday, and I hope you all will join us again next Saturday, same time, same place. Make sure you download this. You know, you can play it back, listen to it time and time again, and share with somebody that you know could benefit from it. All right, again, I'm Kiera D.
Anthony Turner.
And this is The Love Factor. We signing out. And this is The Love Factor. We signing out.